Katya has always been an exemplary girl and studied well. Her parents were often on the road, and she lived with her grandmother. When Katya was already finishing school, her parents stopped leaving so often. Their business got better, and they spent more time at home. The girl entered the institute in her city, and everything was fine with them. Katya's dad always told her that as soon as she graduated from university, she would become the head of the company instead of her father, and she and her mother would rest. The girl joked and said that she would build her own career, and Dad would choose a manager for himself. Her father told her a lot about how to run a business, how to communicate with people, that every customer is important, and that everyone should be given time, and not divided into secured and not. He had several car dealerships in the city, and he was proud that people of different incomes could pick up cars there. With all the wealth of the family, Katya dressed modestly, but with taste. She knew from childhood that it's not clothes that make a person beautiful. Sometimes her friends made fun of her, that they say she mows under the poor, and Katya just laughed in response. She liked it so much. She had an open and kind soul, and that's why people were attracted to her. Alas, not everyone had a good mind, but she quickly removed such people from her environment. And then the day came when she received her diploma. They were sitting in the kitchen with their parents and eating cake. Dad started talking about transferring the business again, and Katya gave up. Indeed, her parents worked so hard to give her a future that she simply has to give them a normal rest in retirement. That's what we decided. Vasily Ivanovich announced to everyone in the office that he was retiring, but he would still look at the light. And in his place now will be Ekaterina Vasilyevna in a couple of weeks, sitting at home or in the office. Vasily Ivanovich told and showed his daughter everything. The only thing she didn't get to know the employees, but there was her request. She wanted to see their work from the inside and didn't want them to know her by sight. Outwardly, she was a copy of Mom, and she never appeared in one of the branches. That's where Katya decided to go as an ordinary employee. Vasily Ivanovich appreciated his daughter's strategy and approved. He said, "That's right, daughter. You need to know what it's like to work at the bottom to lead these people. You know, I myself went from an assistant foreman to a senior manager of a car dealership and only then opened my own business. Therefore, I always respect the work of all employees." That's what we decided. Katya, having already taken office for a couple of weeks, while she was in charge by phone. The employees of the main office were only glad that the new boss did not come, but they did not shirk from work, but simply worked in the same rhythm. And then the day came when Katya went to one of the salons. She arrived 10 minutes late. I went inside and looked around. Behind the reception desk, a beautiful girl was slowly painting her lips. She didn't even look up at Katya until she said, "Please excuse me for being late. I'm Katya, the new intern. You should have received a letter from the main office yesterday." The girl looked up at Katya and then started clicking the mouse. "Oh, there really was a letter yesterday. And how did I not see him? Vitaly, come here." She shouted somewhere to the side. Vitaly came up. It was a young man in a beautiful suit. On his badge, he had the inscription Senior Manager. "Vital, this is a new intern. Her name is Katya. Will you show everything yourself or ask someone?" Vitaly smiled, looked the girl up and down and said, "I'll show you myself. There are no customers anyway." He began to show Katya where and what he was. "This is where managers make purchases," he said, pointing to several people just sitting at tables. "There's a cafeteria next, then my office and the manager's office. You'll meet him a little later. He never comes to work early." There were a lot of cars in the cabin, and they walked along the edge, where there were doors of various offices. Then Katya noticed a man and a woman looking at an inexpensive car and looking around for help. "Vitaly, you said there are no clients. So there are the buyers. What kind of buyers are they?" Vitaly laughed. "They will look and leave. Artyom goes to such people for some reason, although sometimes he sells something, but mostly they just come to take a look." "And where is this Artyom now? And you have somehow definitely who goes to which customers?" "Artyom will be a little later. He asked off. He has to go back to the hospital to see his mother for some reason. And we take customers in turn. And now whose turn is it? Katya wouldn't let up, looking at the people. Do you want it to be yours? Go and show what you can do. Katya went. She approached the customers, apologized for the delay, and answered all their questions. Although the man doubted the competence of the girl, but she knew everything about cars, especially about those that are sold in their salon. After quickly looking at the tablet given to her, which cars are now available, she took the man and woman aside, showing them a car that will be available to them at a price and without credit, and corresponding to their wishes. The couple was very happy, and after a while, they went to the computer to register the transaction. Vitaly, passing by Katya, patted her on the shoulder and said, "And look at you could. Well, then you don't need any further consultation," and added with Yehis, "Don't share it with Artyom for such buyers." Katya was very angry about all this division of people into classes, but she didn't show it. Then different people came in and managers approached them in turn. She saw Artem, who sold a good car to a businessman, and thought that Vitaly had probably deceived her. But then Grandma came into the salon. "God's dandelion," the manager, who had to go immediately, said. "Artem, take it instead of me. I don't feel well." Artem understood everything perfectly and went, and Katya was watching from the side. Artyom greeted his grandmother affably, and they went deeper into the salon. He was telling her something, but Katya didn't hear and decided to come closer. Artyom, seeing this, called Katya to him and quietly said that Grandma would be more comfortable if there was a girl next to her. Then they watched different cars, and we decided to stop at one. The old lady liked him very much, and then she said, "Artem, I like this car so much. Is there a discount on it? I'm a little short." Artyom was just about to answer, but Grandma continued, "You see, my grandson is coming today. I want to give him a gift, so I would have saved up, but time is running out. Or maybe he will come later, and you will give him another time, or some important date." Katya suddenly asked, not knowing why. "Oh, my daughter," Grandma sighed. "You know what's the matter. 20 years ago, my son Andrew went to earn money in the north, and he never came home. He kept writing that he would introduce the bride, and then the accident, and that's it. After I buried him, a letter came to me. His fiancée wrote. She apologized for not being able to come, and said that the news of Andrei's death caused her to go into premature labor. The baby was born weak, but they came out. She named him after Papa Andriushka. After the death of my son, I was no longer so strong, and for me a trip to the far north would have been difficult. We corresponded a lot with Yesenia, and when mobile phones appeared, they started calling up. Even then, when I found out about my grandson, I decided that I would save part of my pension, and when he grows up and comes to me, I will buy a good gift. So that's it. Recently, Andriushka calls me and tells me to bake pies, that he entered the university in a neighboring city. I hid it until the last moment. I was afraid that it wouldn't work out, so I decided to buy him a car, because I knew that he had passed his license in college. Katya and Artem were embarrassed by this story, but then Artyom said, "And let's go to the administrator. Maybe there is something for this car, but I have not updated in the program," and the three of them went. The senior manager Vitaly and the manager Sergei Vladimirovich arrived there as well. Leaving Grandma at the reception desk, Artem and Katya approached them. They explained that Grandma was missing quite a bit. After all, it is possible to make a discount of 10 to 15%, to which Vitaly and Sergei Vladimirovich laughed without hesitation at all. "Artem, have you forgotten that such discounts are made for regular customers? And which one of her is a regular customer?" And they began to approach Grandma and continued, "Grandma, well, we don't have cheap wrecks here." And then they saw the trainee's withering gaze on them. "Why are you looking like that? Look like your first working day has become your last." Grandma was about to leave, but then Katya said, Or maybe someone will call the hostess and ask about a personal discount. There was silence around for a while, and then laughter. Do I need this? I don't want to lose my job, Vitali said. You're not supposed to know her number yet. Artem, can you call? I'll call you, Artyom said and took out his phone, taking the number of the hostess of the salon. He dialed the phone number with shaking hands. No, he wasn't afraid. It was just that everyone was looking at him, and he was uncomfortable with it, and also from the attitude of these people to Grandma. No one paid attention as the intern's phone rang. Everyone was looking at Artyom, and he started talking. Ekaterina Vasilyevna, hello. Please excuse me for bothering you. This is Artem, the manager from the salon on Sovetskaya. We have such a situation here. And then he heard on the phone and in the trading floor at the same time. Artem, I know your situation, and I want to help. No one could figure out what was going on, and only Katya laughed. Well, let's get acquainted again. I am Ekaterina Vasilyevna, your boss, as they say, she said and winked at Grandma. Elizaveta Petrovna, let's go, and you will have a personal discount, and I think a slightly different car. And she led her grandmother back into the interior of the salon. Artem, will you help? She called out to the seller, and he happily followed them. When they finished with the paperwork and agreed that as soon as the grandson arrives, the grandmother will bring him to the salon for the car, Katya locked the salon and held a meeting. You know, my father always held that all buyers are equal. He taught me all my life not to meet people by their clothes, and he thought he had gathered the same staff. I'm not going to upset him and tell him about how you behaved, and just silently dismiss. You're all free from now on, except for you, Artem. They tried to say something, but Ekaterina Vasilyevna's look was such that no one dared. You will come to the main office tomorrow for the calculation, Katya said after him. Artyom stood in silence and looked at the departing colleagues, whom he disliked so much. Then at the beautiful girl, who turned out to be his boss. She turned to him and said, Artem, we urgently need to organize everything here for the arrival of Elizabeth Petrovna and her grandson Andrew. First of all, please put up a sign that we are closed, but open to them. And she smiled. And we also need to order balloons and a cake. Grandma will really like it. I think so. Artyom nodded and rushed to perform, realizing that he had just done something stupid. He fell in love. After all the preparations were completed, Katya said that Artem was now the manager, and his task was to pick up staff in a week. But just like him, he was shocked and pleased at the same time. Now he will be able to buy better medicines for Mom, and perhaps he will send her to a clinic abroad. The keys were handed over to the grandson of Elizabeth Petrovna in a solemn atmosphere. Grandma was crying with happiness that she had succeeded, and the others wiped away their tears, turning away. After all, everything was so touching. 6 months later, Katya and Artem were sitting at a table in a cafe. During this time, they have introduced many changes in the salons together, and all this has only gone to improve. It was today that Artyom decided that he would no longer be silent, and opening the folder with the documents, he blurted out as if in spirit, I'm quitting. The girl looked at him in disbelief, and he continued, Katya, I fell in love with you back then. I am happy spending every minute with you. I can't be silent anymore. I love you very much. His tirade was interrupted by Katya's laughter. Artyom was already thinking of getting up and leaving as she said, well, finally, I've been waiting and waiting for 6 months, and my prince is still silent. And why quit? But I work for you. You're my boss. What will people think? And I have to build a business myself. Oh, you? Katya said sweetly. So you've been building this business with me for 6 months. You brought so many ideas and projects that it just went wide. There's no way I'm going to fire you, my favorite. That's the story, friends. Do you think there are many people like Katya in the world? Write your opinion in the comments and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. Goodbye.